Curious what I do with my ADHD to stay on track? Well, stay tuned. We're going to get into that in just a second. If you're an entrepreneur, you probably have a million ideas running through your head at any given time. You might be excited by these ideas or overwhelmed by the sheer number of them. It's hard to execute on all your ideas when you're just one person. Of course, if you have anything like ADHD or OCD, that can add to it even more because then you have a million ideas. And if your mental stuff is anything like mine, it means you can't really focus on too much at once. It's usually not the stuff that you even want to focus on. It's usually like repetitive thoughts or compulsive behaviors, or maybe just things that are completely distracting and have nothing to do with what you need to be doing that day for your business. This can be really frustrating, but as a pretty successful person who has ADHD and OCD, I do know that you can work with what you've got and make it all happen. Here's a little bit of behind the scenes of what I do to keep myself on track on a daily and weekly basis. The first thing I do is use calendars. My calendars are my life. I like to block off certain times for work tasks like batch recording videos, like today. And I also like to use a variety of different kinds of planners. So I use my digital one, and I like to joke that I'm Ron Burgundy. Like if you get something on my calendar and it has a Zoom link or a location, I will be there at that link or at that location at that time. Someone could hack into my calendar and like put a flight to South Africa on there, and I'd be like, this is weird, but okay, I guess I gotta, I'm just kidding. It wouldn't be that bad, but definitely if someone wanted to have a meeting with me and it was on my calendar, I would show up for it like without question. I also, just to keep myself organized and use visual cues because that's really helpful for me, I like to use big annual planners for my business. So like a huge like month by month calendar in my office. There's giant ones that they sell at like office supply stores, but what I actually just like to do instead is get a regular wall calendar and then like rip the pages out and lay them all up on the wall so that I have a big enough space to map out big launches and sales and kind of see things at a glance for work, but I don't have to use one of those like ugly laminated ones. The other thing I like to do is have a life calendar. So this goes somewhere in the living room, the kitchen, something like that, where I can coordinate with my fiance and we can map out any kind of coordinated trips like a family vacation or things for our wedding coming up, anything like that. I like to make sure that we have that on our life calendar so I know if he has anything for work or if I have anything for work, it doesn't conflict with what's going on personally for us. Another thing that works really well for me is having a team. And I know that might not be where you're at yet, but that's definitely a good goal to have because, for example, I actually just recorded this video and I didn't even want to record it the first time. I recorded it without sound. So I had to redo it and I definitely didn't want to redo it. But the fact is my team is waiting on me for this video to be done so that it can be in our content calendar and scheduled and you guys can view it and all that good stuff can happen. And if I didn't have a team that was waiting on me, who I know they would get frustrated and maybe wouldn't want to work for me anymore if I consistently just fell behind on work, having them helps me to stay on track because I know that it's not just for me, it's for my team and the women that are able to have a job because of my business. So I can't just like stop. I can't just give up and watch TV all day when I feel like it because someone's waiting on me. The third thing I like to do is have some sort of routine. And I used to think that if every single day didn't look exactly the same, then I couldn't have a routine, things would just fall apart. And that's not true because real life is the fact that every day looks different. Today I'm filming all day. Tomorrow I have a lot of personal errands like the veterinarian for my dog. All that kind of stuff is going on tomorrow. And then yesterday I had a bunch of client calls and did some group coaching calls for them. So every single day is going to look different, but that doesn't mean that you can't have routines. In fact, I have a morning and an evening routine. And that's really great because it gives me this sense of control that life isn't overwhelming or chaotic because even if I can't control my whole day, I can control my morning or at least that 10 to 30 minutes in the morning where I'm journaling and reading and just having that time for myself. That really helps me to show up, and just because I've taken care of myself in the way that way I can show up in a little bit more focused and motivated way every day for work. Same thing with my evening routine, really simple. It just gets me ready for bed. A lot of people will recognize this as just good sleep hygiene. So if you do have trouble sleeping and you're not doing an evening routine, it can be really life-changing. Another fun thing to work towards is anybody that can help you with your life, anybody that can help you clean up around the house or run errands for you, like a personal assistant, or just buy groceries for you. If you have Instacart in your area or something similar, that's really helpful. And even though these are small things, I know they're luxuries, but they're definitely something that I would encourage you to work towards if you feel easily overwhelmed. I know for me personally, my housework, like all the cleaning and the clothes and things like that, they start to go to crap when I'm feeling overwhelmed. They're the first thing to go. And so if I look around and there's a lot of clutter, it tells me that I'm feeling overwhelmed in my life and my business, and I need to take a step back, maybe hire some help, maybe lean on others for support, like a coach or a mentor, and maybe even give myself some extra time to get the tasks that are on my plate done so that I don't feel so overwhelmed. Speaking of routines and hiring support, one of my favorite things that I did was hire a hair and makeup artist for my filming days. The reason I did this was because I noticed on the days when I didn't hire someone, I wouldn't get ready, I would procrastinate, and before I knew it, it was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon and I was just filming this first video, which that's a problem. If you have to film more than like 3 videos, you can't really do that in one night. Like, you need a whole day. It takes a lot of effort and time to do these, so make sure you like this video because it took a lot of time. I always hire my makeup artist every month for my filming batch day now, because I'm not going to just sit around and watch TV all day if I have $200 worth of hair or makeup done. I'm actually going to film and, make a good use of that money I just spent. Another way you could do this, where, maybe you're not filming, but you do need to get tasks done in your business and you don't have a team yet, another person to rely on is someone like a coach or a mentor. I only work with up to 2 mentors at a time. So my rule of thumb is that if I'm going to be listening to podcasts or reading books, that's not a mentor, that's just information, education. But if I go deeper with them, if I get on their newsletter, if I hire them, if I start allowing them to infiltrate my life even more, that becomes a mentor, and I can only have 2 of those at a time. So I'm not stuck with the same 2 all the time. I have to trade one out for another one. And the reason for this is because if you really struggle with what to do in your business, it's probably because you are trying to do too many things, because you're listening to, 10 different business podcasts, and each one of them is saying something different. One's telling you to do Instagram, another one's saying Pinterest is the way, another person's saying screw social media, you need to be just blogging, which, is revived or something. And so now you're trying to do lots of different things. You're trying to pin, you're trying to be on Instagram, you're trying to figure out reels and blog every day and whatever people are telling you. You're getting too overloaded with suggestions, and then you're not able to execute and implement any of them. I think we do this because we really don't trust ourselves very well. Therefore, we don't rely on our own selves to make decisions. We're relying on other people, like a podcast that we're listening to make that decision for us and to show us the way. And that's a natural thing to do. But if you're following 10 different people, it's just going to be a mess. So follow 2 people at a time. You can trade them out. So if you're following, one person, you find someone you like better, swap them out. I would hope that I'm one of those people to you. I love having you here. That's a really simple but kind of difficult to implement, life hack that will really help you to stay focused and to actually start to see results in your business. Something else that's been really important is being honest with myself. I wasn't always the best at doing this. It wasn't until a therapist looked at my to-do list. She asked for, what do I have to do every day? Because I said, I'm never getting anything done. I don't know what to do. I just can't get anything done, it feels like. And so she asked to see my to-do list. And when I showed it to her, she said, this is what most people try to accomplish in 3 months, not 1 day. I mean, my to-do list was ridiculous. It was write and finish an entire course, map out a quarterly sales plan, and write 12 emails. And that's what I expected of myself every single day. And, maybe for 1 or 2 days in your life, you can do that, but it's hard to keep up with that kind of content generation and production. And so, of course, I was falling behind, and then I was getting really hard on myself because I just felt like I should have been able to do it, but I wasn't being realistic. In fact, even today, there's a lot of things that I want to do, but I don't have the resources. And because I'm realistic, I can see that they're coming down the pipeline. Maybe I'll get to them in a couple months' time, but it's not going to happen this week like I used to do when it was just me running my own business with no team. I resisted medication for a long time, but that's really been a game changer. It's given me back an extra 5 or 6 hours every single day on the days when I do take my medication. I feel like that's one of the signs. I am not diagnosing anyone, but I feel like that's one of the signs that you have ADHD is you legit forget to take your medication. I had to set an alarm every day. And now I've gotten a better morning routine, but I had to set an alarm every single day to remember to take my Adderall because I would just forget. And then by the time I realized it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Anyway, I'm really bad at taking my medication. But when I do it, it does work. There's many people that choose not to be medicated on ADHD, and there's lots of people that live without it. In fact, I was 31 when I got diagnosed. I just self-medicated with about 3 liters of coffee every day. Just to put that into perspective, that was like nothing. Like I could take a nap on that. It was crazy. If you do decide that that's something you want to pursue, then just talk to a doctor, obviously, about this. It's a very personal decision to every single person. But for me, it's worked wonders. I actually had a therapist explain why I needed to take it every day instead of just like the weekdays or like days that I need to be on. Anyway, I'm not going to go into all of that, but it is important that you do follow the medication plan that your doctor puts out and not just like make one up for yourself. One last thing that I did that was really difficult for me as an introvert was to push myself outside of that comfort zone and to lean into the fact that I could make friends and I could go up and just talk to people randomly. That got really difficult during the pandemic, but I do hope that with whatever virtual friends you were able to make during that time, maybe you guys can meet up in person. Just having friends that understand what you're going through in business and friends that can celebrate those happy times in business, it's really important and it makes a world of difference. So be sure that if you aren't putting yourself out there or you don't have any friends who really relate to what your day-to-day life looks like as a business owner, that you are making sure to invite those kinds of people into your life. And even when you're tired, inviting them over for dinner, that kind of thing, letting them energize you. And really, if you're a people pleaser, leaning on them, because that's something that you can practice doing that might feel uncomfortable at first, but it will pay off in the long run and you guys will be friends for life, probably. My business friends and I are the closest, it's like the closest friendships I've ever had in my life. And I'm so happy for them. And I'm so just grateful to have all of those people in my life. And maybe one day we'll even get to meet. If you like this, if this resonated with you at all, please let me know how in the comments below. I read every single one of them. It makes me really, really happy to hear that we're connecting in some way, even if it is from afar over the internet. And if you like this, we definitely have a lot more, usually strategic and tactical videos than this one. So make sure you're subscribed, like all that good stuff. I will see you next week. Bye, everyone.